Hey everyone, welcome to BigGunner81 Live, episode 198 it looks like today, if I got my count right. So first off, I want to thank our sponsors, Pinto Precision. You know them for their quality barrels at affordable prices, but they also have many components for AR-15s and also now Glocks. Eggleston Munitions, if you're a reloader, check them out. They got some awesome deals on projectiles in multiple calibers. And Applied Arsenal Finishes and Gunworks, BAT Arms, and also the Ranger 355, of course. So welcome everybody. Anyhow, tonight we're just going to kind of, I don't mean to kind of sound upbeat, I guess, in the beginning of this, because it's not really the greatest day with what just happened down in Las Vegas, of course. And we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, you know, and kind of get into just our general thoughts, really, and opinions and things and whatnot. As you know, we're not really big into the politics end of it, but there might be some political discussion, I guess, with this as well tonight. You know, first and foremost, you know, our thoughts and prayers and our hearts go out to those that, you know, family members, the people that were killed and injured and so forth. I mean, there's people that are dealing with this and will be dealing with this for a long time to come. This is something pretty big that, you know, happened here. Yeah, it's kind of a heavy thing, you know. And you start listening to the reports. You know, I woke up, you know, in the morning and first heard about it then. Some people might have heard about it as it was happening and so forth. And you start trying to analyze all this stuff. You start looking at, you know, what happened, how did it happen, you know, what was going on exactly, what are some of the ways we could try to avoid this from happening, you know, in the future. What could you do if you're in that position? All these different things run through our heads when you have a big tragic event like this. You know, what was he using to do this? You know, all sorts of things. You know, one of my first thoughts, honestly, was, you know, as far as how you know what was being used in this event. You know, I was thinking it almost sounded like maybe a 30 caliber, you know, maybe belt fed or something, because it just had, you know, the cadence of it, you know, didn't seem quite right. For, you know, regular full auto in a sense. And I was thinking, you know, from the distance he was shooting at, you know, he's up many levels up, and I don't know how far, but it seemed like a pretty good distance to the venue where he was at. I was thinking, you know, maybe a 223, 5.56 round, you know, not to debate its capability, but I'm thinking that distance, it might be kind of a small caliber. And I was just thinking, man, the sound of it, just, I don't know, you know. What are some of your guys' thoughts about this, about what happened and just in general? If Thomas, you want to talk about it first? I'm just going to pick on you since you've been around for a little while, which, by the way, welcome everybody. We got Thomas in the house and Joe with us, and also Corey as well. Sorry, I forgot, kind of skipped over that. I was kind of distracted by my thoughts on this one. But
yeah.
So Thomas, what were you thinking about it?
So I mean, my very first thought when the very first video I watched was probably the same one that everybody saw. It was the concert goer in the back who had their recording the concert, probably about 15-20 seconds in, you just heard that repetitive rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat, that kind of cadence. And I mean, the very first thought that I had is like, okay, this is a fully automatic. This is what I'm hearing sounds like an AK. For the viewers that don't know, I'm ex-Army. Did 2 tours in Iraq. I've had several AKs fired at me on numerous occasions. And so that was my immediate thought is, okay, this is an AK. Some photos, I don't know if they've been leaked or released, of the actual shooter's room, confirmed that there was at least one AK there. Everything came out and was shown to be, I don't know anything about bump fire stocks being used or if anything was converted. My first thoughts were, okay, this is an automatic weapon. This is what it sounds like to me. But yeah, that was my immediate first thought is, okay, this is somebody opening up with an AK from an elevated position. As far as your comments go, in regards to distance, they measured it out. It was something like 337 yards end to end into the concert venue, which is not a difficult shot to make, especially if you're just, and I hate to sound callous about this, but if you're just hosing,
right, you're just spraying off bullets out of it.
It's not hard to do, unfortunately.
One of the things that I thought was kind of odd too, like I was looking at some of the photos that have been out recently, because of course, the first thing that happens, we all start thinking, like I said, or many of us start thinking rather, what is this? What all the what's, wins, whys, hows, and what ifs and whatever. Anyway, so you start hearing a lot of people kind of making these ideas up. Like I said, I was thinking as a belt fed. You thought it was an AK. We all are pretty kind of like on the close on that path, wherever it could be. But you start getting a lot of misinformation because people start believing certain things are the truth. You start hearing, oh, it's a fully automatic weapon, or like, I watched one lady speaking of it that was there, and she says, oh, I know it was a semi-automatic rifle because I know the sound that it makes. And she didn't seem like she had that kind of experience with firearms at all. But again, I'm just judging her based on how she was discussing it. And I don't know, but I just get a lot of different swirling ideas and thoughts with this whole thing. But things are seeing some of the photos that are coming out and everything later on, and there's a lot of things to me, something just doesn't seem totally right with the situation of what happened. And I don't mean like, why did this guy go nuts and decide to kill a bunch of people? But just the way things are laid out in the hotel room and whatnot, it seemed a little bit strange to me. I don't know if you guys felt the same way or not.
Well, there's a lot of unanswered questions, details that, like you said, are just odd. But I mean, the bottom line is there was an evil person that decided to do like this most heinous thing is absolutely incredible. It is pure evil. I mean, I think that needs to be said before we talk about any sort of what type of whatever, how he did this, and it was planned. I mean, the amount of ammunition, the weapons that he had, and he decided to get two different rooms. I mean, this was planned. I don't know. It's very odd. It's very totally unique in that situation. A lot of times, sometimes mass shootings are just kind of spur of the moment type things. I don't know. But I can't believe that they're not calling it a terrorist act. I know that there's
terrorism in a sense.
The reasons are there wasn't openly trying to proclaim some sort of ideology or whatever, but
know that yet.
Right, we don't.
That's the unfortunate part. We've got a lot of noise out there. ISIS is claiming responsibility. Antifa were the first ones to come out and say, oh, it was one of our guys. And the FBI saying, he doesn't have any of these motivations. His family members are saying, oh, he's just a regular dude. So it's one of those things is that we need to let the noise calm down and let the professionals do their job.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Whether you kind of like what I saw today, whether you like our president or you don't, he kind of said basically, in a sense, we want to, and I'm kind of paraphrasing it. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but my opinion and what I kind of heard was, it sounds like, hey, let's deal with what the crisis at hand. Talk about gun control later. Let's put that off. That's not the important thing right now. And of course, that flares up the other side who wants to right away when something happens that's related to a firearm. I told you so. You got to get rid of it. Can't have this, type of mentality happens. And you know what? You can't. It's proven fact. You can't ban evil. You can't stop evil acts. They're going to say, well, yeah, you might be able to limit what their options are as far as what they can use against people. Well, it goes both ways. Yes, you can try to eliminate firearms, but then you have to eliminate from everybody, and of course, as they always say, the bad guys are going to do bad things. They're going to find ways to do this. It's not hard to build a friggin' gun. You can do it with hardware store supplies and put together a single shot, shotgun. With
hell, it's easier to build a bomb.
Yeah,
he had explosives.
Exactly.
He had explosives. He could have used those easily.
That's what I was hearing tonight too, as well. That's, of course, all the things we hear are we don't. Sometimes it's hard to decipher what's fact and what's misinformation, because again, a lot of these things come out so quickly. Because media, they always say, "Oh, fake news, this and that." Well, a lot of it too, I think, and that's my opinion, and I don't agree with some of the stuff being fake in a sense, but they're pushing to get something out right away. They want to have that story right away. They want to get you sensationalized, excited, and hyped up about it, because if you're not excited, you're not going to be watching, and their ratings go down, because at the end of the day, it's all about marketing in a sense for them. It's not about helping people be educated or to learn something. It's about, using events to, basically sell marketing in a sense, to be able to have advertisement and make money. That's what it's about.
And I think because there is a lot that we don't know yet, and there's just a lot of speculation about this incident, that one of the go-to things is gun control. That's something that they can always talk about.
Right.
There wasn't a clear, like you said, motive, so gun control is always easy to talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
For them, obviously.
And I always like how they center around the NRA as the problem. Like they just go right to like the NRA is this evil mass of people.
Did you see Hillary Clinton's tweet about that?
Which one? The one I think I saw it earlier about the I don't know if you can pull it up or not, but about the suppressors and so forth and silencers and how to be more deadly and go after the NRA.
Yeah, so there were a couple, but the first one was, and I can pull it up verbatim, but it was basically, we should put politics aside and all stand up against the NRA.
Doesn't that sound like you're putting politics first?
I mean, it's literally saying that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, let's just go up against the the people that are trying to support gun rights rather. It's ridiculous. People don't quite understand the concept, and it's
so messed up. Like I don't know. Other people think that the NRA is just like some sort of like private organization. I mean, they don't understand there are millions of members. People, we're members of the NRA. Like, what are you saying that about us? Like, what? Absolutely ridiculous.
I think that they don't really get, or they might even get it, and they're just using it. They're using the organization to demonize.
They gotta give it a face.
It's easy to, and everyone knows what it is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think that they understand that it's a member-funded organization that is involved in politics. Right. It's not a strictly political organization that is getting money from, government funds or is funded by millionaires. Some members might be millionaires, but it's, you, me, and everybody else paying $25, $50, however many dollars a year to maintain membership.
They just go come over to our side and go shoot some guns and have fun shooting them. Yes, there's the whole idea of the evilness that they can be used for, but anything can be used for evil. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on that.
You're right. You're right. There's not too much more to say.
I mean, people. Sorry, I want to touch on it just for a second.
Jump in. That's what we're here for, Corey.
One of the big things is media. It's all. I base everything around on opinions, unless it's actually, factual. If you have documentation and statements and proof that it's true, everything is just based on opinion. It's all false. It's all fake. It's hearsay. They're here for ratings, and that's what they're doing. The NRA is a 146-year-old organization with memberships and sponsors for people who care about pro Second Amendment and their gun rights. In my American politics in college right now, this is one of my group presentations, is the history of the NRA, because it's a big topic. And that's the way I base everything at this point in time, is basically just everything is opinion-based until there's actual factual evidence proven otherwise against that opinion. And, it's only, less than 72 hours after the incident in Las Vegas. Yes,
Yeah.
less than 48. So, I mean, really, there's nothing. They're trying to do all they can. I mean, unfortunately, the shooter killed himself. The girlfriend or his whatever accomplice, whatever you want to call her, is out of the country. So there's really nothing to go off of except what's in the room, how everything was positioned, bank accounts, everything. And they're saying it was done extensively and well planned out, which, from what we see, it was.
Well, yeah, all the stacks of mags there, and everything in the corner and whatnot. We got some comments over on the YouTube side here as well, and I see the guys out on gunchannels.com are also on the chat. They're not saying a whole lot right now, but there's a few things over on YouTube. Mine might be a little bit lagged here, but Jared says that dude was definitely anti-Trump. And I'll see Sean, regular Sean is out there watching us, and he said everything about this Vegas deal is just so weird. I'm tempted to think false flag, and I personally, I don't disagree with that. I kind of am wondering myself because of some of the way things are laid out, and so forth. And Countryman, spelled with Contree. I like that spelling. He says, I don't do news. Do they have a motive for the shooting yet? And New Throne Clay also says, pray for the wounded. There are many, which is true. There's many people that are out there that are hurt, injured, still trying to recover from this. And who knows, there may be more that don't quite make it, unfortunately. That can be the case sometimes. We don't know the severity of the injured people that are out there and all of them. There's many of them. I think their last count, I think I heard 500. Originally it was like
it was a little over. It was like 518 the last I saw.
Man,
that were wounded. 58 confirmed dead. And again, this is old information, at least a couple hours old. So this is going to definitely change.
Exactly. We do this I don't want to say podcast, a show. Now here on the 3rd of October. And down the road, there might be totally different information out there. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a motive for it at that point, and something else to go off of. We don't really know. It's just more of a shock and awe type of thing, and just all the different comments. There's so much hate out there in this world. It is really a sad thing. There was something with one of the CBS employees, I think. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but someone who got fired because of a comment they were saying about this event and so forth, and about, oh yeah, country music, oh yeah, mostly Republicans or whatever, or something like that. I don't know if you guys
she was saying that she had no sympathy for the victims because they were at a country concert, and people who listen to country are more than likely Trump-supporting Republicans. And CBS fired her within an hour of that going public.
Right. Good thing for CBS to do that. I mean,
that is somebody that is so messed up and brainwashed to say something like that. I mean, that person is like sick. Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
We all have our views, and I have mine, and you know what? I think, when we have these discussions, they should be open discussions, not like we're closed-minded on things, but just to take the facts and think about it and digest it, and not just be like, that's it, end of story. So that being said, too, for those of you maybe may have some thoughts on this, if you're in that position, if you're in those people's position, what could we do? What could we do differently, maybe, to help protect us and maybe the people around us? Do you guys have any thoughts on that? I mean, I'm just thinking about, you got someone who's shooting from an elevated position down at you. I mean, trying to find cover can be difficult. And, concealment versus cover, we know that debate, What's something that could possibly stop a bullet when you're in a crowd of people? I mean, it's just an open area, it seemed like.
Yeah. As far as the whole, what can you do in a situation like that? Unfortunately, it's put as much distance between you and the shooter as possible. Find something solid. Pray it stops it.
Yeah.
It's a serious lack of options is what you're faced with. So distance is your friend.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There are a lot of people who are saying, oh, if you have your concealed weapon, shoot back. You got to understand it's coming from a hotel. Hotels are full of people, and you don't know where this guy's firing from.
Exactly. You can't see who else is in that room with him. That he might have some people hostage next to him that you can't see. But that being said, concealed handgun, realistically, that distance, good luck trying to hit that. I mean,
it's been proven that a 9mm can travel that distance.
yes,
Jerry Mitchell has proven that it can carry that distance.
Yes, but we're not all Jerry Mitchell. Yeah, he's a professional shooter, and he's not in that stressful situation with people yelling and screaming and so forth.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Unless you have minutes to.
You're more likely to.
You have no idea where it's coming from at that point.
Exactly. No distance.
And you wouldn't. The last thing you would think is from a hotel across the street or whatever. I mean, it was very unique.
Someone was saying on your two, break away from the crowd. I was listening to something that James Yeager had said. I think it was yesterday. I want to say it was yesterday. I was listening to this some little bit piece that he was talking about. And I think it was related to Vegas, but in situations like this and mass shootings and stuff, he's like, don't stay with the crowd because he goes, don't go towards the entrance. That's where everybody's headed to. That's where that's going to be. The next spot he's going to be hitting because it's obviously. If you're thinking like someone's crazy, wants to kill a lot of people, you're going to go after the group of a lot of people. You're not going to pick out one random guy necessarily. Not that it can't happen, but more than likely, your odds are going to be that they're going to be going for the group of people where they can cause the most casualties and so forth. I recently had a thing happen with us here with at the movie theater. They had reports of shots fired, but realistically, it sounds like they knocked over some really big signs inside the mall that echoed basically very loud, and people assumed they were gunshots because they didn't know any better. But there was a couple fights and so forth, and mass hysteria, people running around, thinking that there was gunshots going off, and lots of police coming. And I'm watching when they're evacuating our theater. They're kind of escorting us out, and everybody's kind of going towards the lobby. And we were probably one of the last theaters to be evacuated because the commotion was more towards the center of the venue. But my thought was, screw that. I'm going to the nearest exit that I can see the outside of, and there's not really many people out there. And I'm getting away from the whole crowd of people because I don't know what's going on at this point, but chances are it's not a horrific incident like something like Vegas. There wasn't multiple shots or anything like that. Obviously if there's people coming in to usher us out, it seems like, and there's an officer or whatever, sounds like they kind of have the issue contained at this point. So I just figured, nonetheless, I'm going to go out the side door because get away from the crowds of people, my thought anyway. If nothing else, it's less of a traffic jam to actually exit the place and get out of there a little bit quicker and so forth. So that being said,
with just everything that happened, I mean, even with it's hard for me to explain. I mean, even with a concealed carry weapon, you have to be cautious in a situation like that, not knowing where it's coming from. People are going everywhere. Obviously, with law enforcement, I don't know. It's hard because if you were a law-abiding citizen carrying concealed and you're trying to help the situation, you could possibly be mistaken for the shooter.
Yeah, that's come
exactly.
And if it was me, I would want to help out as much as possible. But I'd also be afraid for my life, not only from being shot by the shooter, but also law enforcement at that time because nobody really knows who's doing it.
Right, and it's not even just law enforcement. It can be, someone else in that crowd that sees you pull a gun.
Yeah.
You're thinking, I'm going to defend myself because I see the threat. They may see you pull a gun out and think you're a second shooter and want to take you down too. It might not just be the police.
Mm-hmm.
It could be someone else. So yeah, anytime you're the person carrying a firearm, you become a target regardless of the situation because, either you're a target to the threat or you're a target by mistake to the quote, good guys in a sense.
So one of these things that happened after the Newtown, Connecticut school shooting was, really practicing, school shooting scenarios with SWAT teams and things like this. How does someone, I guess my question is how do law enforcement and different agencies and people prepare for something like this it's such a unique mass shooting in a situation of its own? I mean, it's just something you can't expect.
Right. It's not something that we see. Like usually you think of like a venue where there's a shooter on foot walking into some place, just, as Thomas said, kind of hosing down the place with bullets and spraying everybody. And this is something different. Now there's someone that's higher up and elevated and shooting down at a crowd of people who are trying to escape from it and not knowing where it's coming from. I mean, that's got to be, one of the hardest things. I mean, I don't know how to word it properly, but you're down there on a venue, and you don't know what direction it's coming from. All you do is you hear the gunfire and seeing people getting hit and falling on the ground, but you're not sure which angle it's coming in from. So you don't know which way to run to. And everybody's kind of like confused maybe and trying to figure out what to do. And everyone's kind of following each other in a sense, and some people are breaking away. And I'll tell you what, one of the things I saw on there with one of the videos that was out there, someone filming off their phones, which I tell you what is, today with everybody having a smartphone in their hand, going Instagram Live, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, streaming everything. I mean, I did that when I was at the theater, but you get to see a lot of different perspectives on what's going on. It's pretty interesting. But there was one guy that kind of stood out, and he was standing up. Everyone's kind of ducking down at gunfire, and he's up there holding his middle finger up, looking up in the air.
Yeah.
With a cup, I think he had a cup in his hand or something. He was probably a little bit drunk. I'm guessing.
He had a beer.
Yeah. We're guessing it was beer. I'm thinking he was probably a little bit drunk, but it was kind of like defiance, I guess. It was kind of like, damn, yeah, is it smart to be standing up when there's someone shooting? No, but the same token, it's like, well, at least if you're going to kill me, I'm going to flick you off before I die.
Yeah. I mean, there's just, it's, you can't, to me, you can't prepare for something like that. I mean, you can try all you want, but there's just no way to be fully prepared for a situation like that. I mean, I can't remember, was it last year or the year before last, the guy went into a mall with a knife and started knifing people.
Yep.
I mean, how do you prepare for a situation like that?
Well, the problem is, and what a lot of people don't understand, is that a lot of these situations, a lot of these events happen with the lone wolf scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only thing you can do is train to react to it.
Right. Yeah.
You can't train to stop it. You can train to put a stop to it. But unfortunately, the only thing you can do is train to react in a situation like this.
One of the questions someone had was Michigan. He said Michigan laws is from Dusty1 over on gunchannels.com, which if you're following along there, or if you're watching this video on YouTube and want to check out Gun Channels, you can gunchannels.com/BigGunner81. We stream the video on their website as well. They have a 24/7 live chat always going. Anyway, Dusty1 says Michigan laws would not allow you to carry in that venue. And he says Vegas ? I don't think you can carry, if I remember right, in the city of Las Vegas, from going to SHOT Show, which is held in Las Vegas at the Sands.
You are allowed to open carry in Clark County. I don't know anything about concealed, but this is coming from the sheriff himself. You can open carry in Clark County on the Strip, but each hotel has the right to say, no, you're not allowed to bring that in there, which Mandalay Bay was one of those, and I believe Mandalay Bay was hosting this concert. Their rules apply to the concert venue.
Okay, good to know. I mean, I remember hearing that one time. I was watching a video from Demolition Ranch, actually, and he was talking about he had some guns or whatever, and he was going to bring them up to his room, and then he found out, oh, I can't do that, but they have a vault or something that you can store them in or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of an interesting concept. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Well, the thing with Demo Ranch, I know the video that you were talking about, his were actually confiscated, and they threatened to evict him from the hotel.
That might be correct. I think that sounds about right now that you say that.
Yeah, I remember watching that episode because I was really interested because at the time I was traveling a lot for work, and so I was curious about, how does that play out with hotels, and that's what came up with him.
I just go with the don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah,
That kind of works, I guess. I don't know.
we'll have the do not disturb sign on.
Yeah, funny story. Or not funny, but just a story for me recently. I picked up my AK recently. And we were traveling back down here, and I had it brand, in the box. Didn't have a case for it yet. I just brought it in the hotel room with me. Basically in the box, of course. Just threw something over the box when I brought it in. Didn't make a big deal out of it. And I wasn't planning on leaving any of my firearms in the room. If I was to leave the room, for something like that, for someone else to find them or something. No way. But it is what it is. Yeah, you gotta kind of check those rules and see where when you head different places and whatnot.
Real quick, YouTube comment from Mason. There was a country concert, and a guy in a hotel nearby killed 60 people. That's Vegas. That is not LA or whatever you're referencing, Mason. That's what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, that's what threw me off. I saw him talking about Los Angeles. I'm like, what? Maybe he's confused in the location. I'm not sure.
Another quick update here. This is on CNN, but they said that on some of the rifles in the hotel room, there were bump fire systems, including bump fire stocks.
Well, yeah. Well, bump fire systems is a brand name that's no longer around, from my understanding, because slide fire.
That's CNN. Take it for a grain of salt.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
bump fire is like a slang term anyway. But
well, right. It's not very clear. They're not giving really any details, but just
they don't know that one rifle has a Daniel Defense stock on it. I mean, come on. You look at the photos and whatnot. But yeah, that's a good point. For those who don't know what bump firing is, that may be watching this, I'm sure most of you probably do. But for those of you who don't, basically it's for example, a bump fire stock is basically the grip and the stock are one piece. So you rest rest the stock against your shoulder, hold the grip on it, and it's kind of like pulling the rifle apart. So it bounces back and forth with the recoil, and as it bounces, your finger is resting on the edge of the grip, so to speak, and it just bounces your finger across the trigger. So your trigger is still being pulled by your finger, but how it's being pulled is basically off of the inertia from the recoil. So you can get a very rapid rate of fire out of it. Of course, you don't need a fancy bump fire stock to do that. It kills the accuracy, obviously, of what you're trying to shoot. But in some cases, obviously like this one, accuracy wasn't really what he was looking for. He was just
and it didn't matter.
right.
Yeah, it didn't matter. He was just trying to dump as much ammo as he could in that general direction. There's other ways of doing that. I mean, people sometimes, if you want, like, they'll hook their finger in their belt loop or whatever and pull it and just basically let it bounce back and forth on the trigger. You're not using your sights at that point. You don't really care about where you're shooting. You're just shooting in a general direction. But it's a way of shooting fast.
Did they say which gun he was actually using? Because I agree with you guys. At first, in the video, it sounded like an AK. It didn't sound like a regular AR.
Right.
Yeah. The pictures that they released just showed guns thrown around everywhere. There were a couple of ARs. There was definitely an AK in the picture, but they didn't say which ones specifically were used. But there were loads in there.
Right. Along with the that whole look at the picture there that I've seen, at least in the room. A couple things I noticed. One, obviously, the Surefire mags. I don't know if they're the 60 round or the 100 round, stick
Those
mags.
were the 100.
It wasn't?
Those were the 100 rounds.
They were the 100 rounds. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what they kind of looked like. Those were nice, nice and nicely laid out and like organized. Like, here's what I'm doing, type of thing. Like it was planned out. All the rifles laying around the place just didn't seem like thought out. It seemed like someone just came in with a bag full of rifles and threw them all over the friggin' place and just said, "Here, this is a big scene of what just happened," basically.
Well, I mean, that you also got to remember what he was doing. So.
Yeah, I mean,
firing and high fire rates, we all know that they can jam. So, I mean, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at these photos now of the actual scene and the busted out window.
Mm-hmm.
my thinking is what he was doing is that anytime a gun went empty or a gun jammed or malfunctioned for whatever reason, he tossed it and grabbed another.
Okay, maybe
That was
it
my
could be the
That's
case.
that's my line of thought.
That seems more likely than anything.
Yeah, I guess I
I mean,
can't really
he-
dispute that.
This
But I mean that's the thing. This is I'm just looking at this as for what actually happened. God only knows. And the one thing I've always said when any of my friends ask me on Facebook, any family members ask me, is when something like this happens, don't knee jerk to it. Wait for the noise to die down and wait for the people to actually investigate these things and come out and see what they say, and then compare that to what you see. Common sense is going to win the day here.
Yeah.
Right. Very well said. So still just a lot to wrap your mind around. Like you said, looking at the photos of the aftermath of the room and whatnot that are being shown. It's just one wants to analyze it and just think about, what all is there and what might have happened in this and that. Just like we're hearing the report about the hammer and him busting out the glass with a hammer and whatnot. I mean, man, it's something. But it's hopefully this wasn't something that's related to another event or something that's coming up. You never know what's out there, what's going to happen, and that's the unsettling part of it. And that's kind of why they call it terrorism. It kind of leaves people with the uncertainty of what's going to happen next and whatnot. Leaves them afraid to go to future concerts or to go out and live their lives. But like that guy who may or may not have been drunk, giving the finger to the guy standing up and whatnot. My thought is, live your life, do the things you want to do, because then otherwise, if you don't go out to the next concert you want to go to, you're letting evil win. You're letting them take that away from you. Your life experiences because someone wants to scare you into not going, or possibly threaten your life in some way, which is just you're basically either way you're letting your life be threatened just by the mere fact that you may change what you want to do with your life because of what someone else may or may not do, if that makes a lot of sense. But just kind of my thoughts on it a little bit. See a comment over here on Gun Channel says, do you believe he was planning for the concert venue, or was that a target of opportunity? If no concert, he would have shot down the Vegas streets. Yeah, who knows? Who knows what he was thinking is what it really comes down to.
Fortunately, that's the answer to pretty much everything.
Yeah, we don't know what he was thinking. His thoughts are all splattered across the floor now in the hotel room. Put it that way, basically.
There's a beautiful picture of that, by the way. I'm sorry, that's kind of morbid, but
no, I understand what you're saying. When it comes down to some act of evil, and if that's the source of it, you want to see it destroyed.
I think I believe that evil should be destroyed by by other means than itself. I mean, basically, that is the cowardly way out.
YouTube.
It's quick and easy for them because they don't have to go through nothing. But that's I don't.
Well, he was a coward long before that too.
Oh yeah. It's, with the history of his family and his father, they're saying his father was some kind of top 10 FBI most wanted for bank robberies or something in the 50s and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so mental health has to be somewhere in that bloodline.
Wow.
And I mean, he was diagnosed as well as a psychopath.
Yeah.
His father.
Yeah.
Not the shooter.
Yeah, that's what it's coming across as. So, I mean, it's just it's hard.
So now do we decide to do our mental health checks based on our parents? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. So I was seeing a couple comments. One says he heard he had the room reservation was for 6 months back. Was very organized. I think was planned. Sure, data will prove in days. From Dusty One over on Gun Channels. Also, Someone mentioned that, or Arnie Asada, if I'm saying that correctly. He says, "Hi, I just got here. Welcome, Arnie. If I'm saying that right, I apologize if I'm not." He says, "Did you guys mention how they found the dude because the smoke alarm in his room went off?" No, I didn't hear that, but I have to think though that the sound, if there's people on that floor, they can be like, "Oh, there's something going on right here," and they'd be hearing it. It's just kind of strange.
I heard about that, and I have to say, if that's true, that's some ingenious work there.
Yeah.
If they can narrow it down to not only a floor but a specific room, that's pretty ingenious to utilize that technology that way.
If that's what it was, if nobody knew what room it was coming from, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't say. But yeah, if smoke alarm's going off in a room, it's going to have. It's very possible they have it on a screen somewhere and saying, "Okay, this room's got smoke alarm. Let's go up to that one and pinpoint it," which would make sense for the whole idea of fire safety. Really would. I live in West Virginia. They now have concealed carry, no permit required. Hey, that's cool. That's something else we could talk about a little bit to kind of lead into, I guess, at this point. I know, Thomas, you recently just moved over to Minnesota from Illinois, just like I moved from Illinois down to North Carolina. And if you want to share a little bit about what are the laws like up in Minnesota exactly, too, as far as concealed carry and buying and firearms and so forth.
So, coming from your Orwellian nightmare that is the outskirts of Chicago, Illinois.
You got to miss Aurora Sportsman's Club, though.
I do miss ASC.
That's my biggest. I'm still a member, and I miss it.
That is the one part of Illinois, aside from all of my friends, the one place in Illinois that I miss the most is ASC.
You got to come out here and visit us too, by the way.
I'm gonna have to. I got a lot of places I need to go.
Awesome. So the gun laws there. I think you were mentioning off air too a little bit about how the concealed carry process and so forth, and the costs.
Yep. So, coming from Illinois, moving to Minnesota, it was a very pleasant surprise for me. Well, not so much a surprise because I Googled it. So Illinois, for those not aware, has I think you mentioned a 16-hour course requirement for concealed carry.
Right.
The requirements of the course are basically a book that you have to go over, which of course drives the cost up. I think the cheapest I saw a full course for Illinois was somewhere in the nature of $220.
Yeah, I think when it first came out, it was like almost $300 by the time you're done. Or maybe I was thinking about the cost of the course plus the actual fees to apply for it.
That's possible, and I'm sure some of the viewers can clarify that. But for Illinois, I'm looking at for Minnesota, I'm looking at a 4-hour course and a $55 course fee, which includes live fire and fingerprinting.
And, I'm not going to complain about the time duration, honestly, because, getting training is beneficial, regardless, in my opinion. And the 16 hours that Illinois has, yeah, it seems like a lot, but you're talking about carrying something that could end somebody's life, and anything that you can learn about that before you start doing it is a good thing. It really is. So I don't have anything really against the training requirements. The costs, yeah, I will say this too about Illinois. If you have, I don't know if anything's changed since I got mine, but if you have a license, like I think it was, if you have Florida or Utah or whatever, it takes off some of the hours that you have to take because part of that's already covered in it.
Yeah, and then veterans are half. My whole concern with the 16-hour course is that a concealed carry course should not be an introduction to handguns course. You should not be a beginner shooter going to.
Oh, I agree.
That's my only concern. You shouldn't be a beginner owner going to a concealed carry course. You need, my personal opinion, you need to train. You need to get familiar with it.
I'm going to add something to that too. Okay. I had this discussion today with somebody that was asking, said, "Hey, I know you're into guns a lot. I'm interested in getting into, learning about having a handgun for self-defense or protection and stuff like that. you know, especially with how crazy the world is today, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. You know, so I kind of gave him some of my opinion and advice, and I said, you know, one, you know, basically don't go out and just buy a firearm. You know, go take a class, maybe a class that supplies firearms for the class, so you don't have to purchase anything. That you can go out and try it and take, you know, learn about it first, learn about all the basics and so forth, way before you get into the concealed carry part of it. Do that, learn how to shoot, figure out what firearm you want to use for concealed carry, which in going through that process, rent as many as you can, try as many as you can, make sure you have something that you personally like to shoot, you feel comfortable shooting, feel that you shoot well with. Find that first, then go look into the concealed carry class part of it. When I came down here, like I said, you know, we came down here and I took my concealed carry class. I may have mentioned this off air. You know, there was some people that I imagined from what I saw displayed at the range portion, and maybe even before that, with at least one of them who came with a high point class, who's actually brought his pistol with him into the classroom, which he wasn't supposed to, I guess, but wanted to for whatever reason. Anyhow, at the range portion of it, we lost Corey. I just realized that. I'll be back, but there's people at the range portion of it where you can tell that whoever helped them purchase the firearm that they were buying, or maybe they went out on their own and bought it, or maybe they got it from a family member, they didn't find the proper firearm for them. There was some ladies that had revolvers. Nothing against ladies, not at all. Just happened to be that they were, you know, females. They had, you know, one of them had a bigger caliber. I don't know what it was exactly. Revolver. It was really not appropriate for concealed carry. But the recoil from it, you know, she could barely hang on to it every time she shot the thing, and ultimately she couldn't shoot well enough with it to be able to pass the qualification, which was probably, I hate to say it, maybe a good thing for her, because she can go back and maybe find a different, you know, get more practice, find a different firearm that would work for her, and so forth. Then there was also some other people that had issues with, like, cycling the, you know, racking the slide, as we say. There's a lot of new people you can kind of tell that just weren't quite, they didn't have good muzzle awareness, you know. They weren't really putting people totally in danger in a sense, but almost. And you could tell they were new and really green to it, and they were just kind of like, I want to get some for self-protection. I never really had a gun before. I want to go ahead and do this.
I feel like the 16-hour course in Illinois it's more than just concealed carry. Like, it is basically an introduction to handgun.
And in that case, you know, you got to remember, you're dealing with the general public. Sorry, I mean, talk over you. Go ahead.
No, and honestly, like, the second half of the course too is mostly just describing all the laws in Illinois. And, you know, it's all classroom the second day, pretty much. You don't do, you know, you don't even talk about training or anything like that. So it's kind of like a general. I mean, I found it helpful. I found it good. But yes, there's, you know, 16 hours is excessive. But like I said, Illinois has so many laws. You know, one thing has necessitated another, right? So I can see how other states don't need a 16-hour course, and I understand that for sure.
Right. I mean, like I was just saying too about, like, people that were inexperienced, that's very helpful for them. But then again, for someone who's new at it, taking, let's say you cram an intro to pistol class with a concealed carry class like that, that one class may not really be enough, really, in my opinion. I mean, that's just my opinion again. You want to get more practice in. You want to get some range time in. You want to feel really confident with your firearm before you get to that level of doing concealed carry. And that, you know, that's my personal thought. Other people might have different thoughts on that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, what works for you, basically, what it kind of really comes down to. You know, at the same token, you got to remember too, the laws are put together for these curriculum and so forth, what the requirements are based on the general population. You got to remember, not everybody is a gun person that really knows. Like I was saying, I had no gentleman in the class that was talking with us. I say us, me and Laura, that it sounds like he may have shot a couple times and he wanted to get his concealed, you know, handgun permit. so that he can get it out there and do more shooting and buy his own firearm or whatever. And he was asking questions about long guns, like buying an AK. He's like, "Oh, you could buy an AK-47 at Bass Pro or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you got to remember it's a semi-auto only." And he didn't understand the difference between a semi-auto and a full auto. And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's kind of help you understand that a little bit."
Sorry, real quick. How about, I wanted to mention this earlier, just how about how the media they've started using just the word automatic.
Yes.
To replace semi-automatic. Automatic rifles are legal. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
So are automatic vehicles.
Not muzzle loaders. Like, what are you talking about?
Do I need to have a manual transmission in my car?
Yeah, so that is something like a thing that like the media does. Words like that, and people that don't know anything about firearms, that's how they try to they trick people. They're tricking people into thinking something that it's not.
Absolutely, just like the suppressor debate, which I think, not to get into politics again, but like, remember, right? Part of that was the Hearing Protection Act or something. Mm-hmm. Something I heard today. I don't remember. I didn't get all the facts on it. I heard a little glimpse of it. Something about they're not going to be bringing it up for. Maybe Thomas knows this.
Yeah, Paul Ryan shelved it indefinitely.
Yes, that's what I was kind of getting at. I heard something like that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he did it just because of Las Vegas. I thought he said that it was done.
He specifically cited Las Vegas.
They need a reason, right?
Yeah.
They got to find one, and then, there you go. Boom. Here's a big reason for everybody. So, yeah, Dusty one mentions, I still have a problem with the cost, but pay. His Second Amendment right as U.S. citizen should not be charged. Not many complain about it, though. I guess he's talking about basically the costs for concealed carry and so forth, and like how it's our right for the Second Amendment, but yet we have to pay all of these fees to do this, to be able to carry a firearm, which is exactly right. We all kind of bicker about it, but our bickering just goes unheard, it seems, and just an extra tax to make money off of it, in many cases. And I guess not all states are like that, of course, because, some states have like here you have open carry. Of course, open carry, there's the whole tacticalness that you lose with open carry. I'm not sure what states. I think someone mentioned earlier one of the states that has, it's West Virginia now have concealed carry, no permit, is what Countryman on YouTube was saying. So some states are like that. But yeah, I mean, definitely, it's just like anything. We have different fees for different things that that are just basically taxes on our rights. Next, they'll be charging us to talk, and charge. Well, I guess they kind of do in some cases. Look at all the cell phone taxes and stuff they have out there. Who knows? But yeah, it is what it is. And I know we were also talking. Let's mention this real quick when it comes to concealed carry and buying firearms and so forth. Every state has their own rules. I know Thomas and I were talking off air about the pistol purchase permits. You mentioned that Minnesota has one of those as well. Just out of curiosity, is that for each pistol you have to buy, or you buy one?
As I understand it, and I could be wrong, it is valid for up to 3 years, but it is for each individual pistol.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it is here. Like, I don't know what it costs up there, but I think here it's about $5 for each one. I think you get a county sheriff, apply for it, they do a background check with it, blah blah. Every one you want to buy, it's a $5 deal, and it probably expires at some point. I don't think they give you a year. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's like, man, that kind of sucks. Yeah, Illinois has its rules of waiting periods of, I think, was it 48 hours? 72 hours for. I'm sorry, 72 hours
for a handgun, and then 24 hours for a long gun.
Right. I'm already forgetting because I've been down here for a while. So you get those time frames to wait, but on the flip side, you don't have pistol purchase permits and all that. So yeah, everything's got its pros and cons. But yeah, down here again, it's like you have to buy one for each one. Of course, you get concealed carry, just like you mentioned earlier about Minnesota. If you have your concealed handgun permit, that bypasses that whole process basically. So now that is your pistol purchase permit and you don't have to buy multiple licenses. It's basically use that, and they do the background check again on you when you do your purchase. And down here, there's no waiting period at that point. Just waiting for your NICS check, wherever it is, your federal background check to come back, and you're good to go. So,
which means if my concealed carry class costs $55 and every single pistol permit costs $5, that means I should buy 11 guns in order to pick up that cost.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's going to incentivize people to buy more firearms or just and get concealed carry. You know, maybe somebody was like, "Oh, I don't really need to carry," and then now they're just going to do it, which is fine. I don't know if that's what the law intended, but whatever.
Right. And there may be some people that do that just for that purpose because it might be cheaper in the long run, if depending on what the costs are and whatnot associated with it. Sure. Just because you have a concealed carry permit doesn't mean you have to carry it. Right? I mean, it just gives you that option to do it legally in a sense.
Seems kind of stupid not to, but hey.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying, that's what freedom is all about. Freedom goes both ways.
Don't have to get the pistol permit, right? You might as well just do it.
Right. So, anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap stuff up for tonight. Big shout out to all those guys out there. Oh, by the way, we'll go check out the comments real quick here. Gunchannels.com. Dusty1 says he likes your math, like with everything in regards to the 11 by 11 guns, because you can break it down, right?
Exactly, makes sense.
I dig it. I mean, yeah, with the 50 states of AR-15 and building all these rifles and everything. If you haven't checked it out, we're working on a new website, by the way, which I'll mention that one more time in a minute. But some people hating on Paul Ryan out there and on YouTube, of course. I'm not going to go into those comments, but also thank you to Mason as well. He says our videos are awesome. I appreciate that. If you guys have any final questions, ask them up right away. We can address them hopefully before the end of the show here as we're wrapping up right now. Also, train of thought, I had something else I was going to mention. Oh, the website for 50 States AR-15 project. It's starting to progress a bit. We're kind of like right now, if you go to 50statesofar15.com, it basically brings up not a whole lot, okay? But on the back end, we're working on basically some of the new layouts and so forth for the site. Just to kind of give a hint, I probably mentioned it before, we're trying to do a map type deal where people can kind of click on a map and see, where some of these companies are located and so forth, and break it down by state. So I'm not sure how it's going to turn out yet. We're still kind of, I guess, working on that part. Right now, we're looking at something that has like Google Maps kind of deal on it, but we're looking at the other option might be something a little bit different. I don't know yet. One of our viewers that was out watching the We Like Shooting show jumped up, and he does a lot of stuff with WordPress, and he offered to help out with it. So he's been working on it with me in the background. It's going to take some time to get that developed, though, of course. So I'm looking forward to it. As you guys may know already, we have 7 of the rifles built. I'm still working on wrapping up the filming for the Ohio rifle build. That's going to be the next one you guys are going to see more on, and so on. And this weekend we got the Iraq Veteran 888 shoot. I think it's 4/8. If I said that right, I always screw up the number. But they're out in Georgia, and we'll be headed down there to check out that event this weekend, and maybe have some more things coming up here in the future as well. Let's see what else he has. How is this paying the CCW trainer if there's no fee, not taxpayers? Good point. Is asking about Bullseye Shooting. Was talking about basically how you're going to pay your instructor if there's no taxes, if there's no fee at all for concealed carry. That is a very good point. Didn't quite think about that. I guess there's 2 parts to that. There's the training part, and then there's the part for applying the tax part of it. So yeah, we're not saying not pay your trainer, I guess is where we're going with that. We're basically going at like the government end of it, the part where you're paying to actually apply for a license, not the part for the training. Because of course, I'll mention this too. Right now, the training, there's value in the training. That's value means dollars and cents. If someone's going to spend their time teaching you something, you have to pay for that education. And that because that's something that has value. So yeah, hopefully we didn't come across with some misunderstanding with that. But what else you got? It says, I want to buy the new Spikes Tactical Snowflake AR lower with the color-filled unicorn. Yeah, so those I didn't see that. That's a pretty awesome lower pattern that they have on Spikes Tactical. Of course, with the color fill, that's awesome how it looks. I would probably do the color fill myself, honestly, but
It's
just
going to
'cause
upset so many people, and I'm going to laugh for
I know,
so many
right?
days.
If we could get one of those for the Florida build for 50 States project, that'd be awesome.
Go ahead and order it now.
Yes, I gotta find the dollars and cents to do that.
Do it in the show and
That's
go
the
and
value.
order it now.
Yes, definitely would love to do that. I think that'd be an awesome setup. There's a lot of great companies in Florida. we haven't even gotten to Florida yet. We've got a lot on the list with a lot of states. I think I counted out we have 9 receivers, I believe, or 9 receivers that haven't been finished out yet, plus the 7 that are complete. So we got about 16 states, that we're made pretty good progress on at this point, and it's going. So I mean, we're gonna get there. We just gotta keep sourcing them out. In fact, I had another gentleman today contact me that's from Vermont, I believe, and he owns a training company there, and we were kind of talking a little bit and stuff, and he's interested in maybe helping out with that. So we're going to talk a little more and see what we can do with Vermont. That would be an awesome one because I thought Vermont might be slightly anti-gun. I don't really remember,
No,
but,
Vermont. I think Vermont's really pro-gun.
Are they? 'Cause
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry to those in Vermont if I offended you. I just, something in my mind told me that. I must be
I think
wrong.
it's New Hampshire. That's the really bad one.
Which one?
It's New England.
New Hampshire.
So.
Yeah. I tell you what, because we're on the eastern side, but we're at the southeastern. So, yeah, as you go north, like Connecticut and stuff like that, of course, there's still Colt there and Stag Arms. We haven't even gotten to that state yet. But other small one, and I don't mean to get off topic as we're going to wrap up too, but Rhode Island, I know I found a barrel company there, but I haven't gotten to search out for a receiver set yet. But we're finding them. I mean, we got the Alaska one actually just arrived to a local FFL out here. As soon as I get my concealed handgun permit back, I'll go pick that up. And we'll probably dig into Alaska too at some point. But we got the start to it. So, yeah, this is a big project, and I'm excited about it. I'm always going to be excited about it because it's pretty cool. Just hope that, nothing changes with their laws or anything like that that might prohibit it from getting done. And that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to find all the receiver sets for all the states too, so we can kind of get that foot in the door, so to speak, on every single state. And just in case something does change with laws, which we hope it doesn't, and we'll fight for that not to happen. But anyway, with that being said, I appreciate you guys all being on. If you have any last final thoughts, I'll go Corey first here. If you got anything.
It's always a blessing to be on here with you, Rick.
We love having you on here, man.
And everybody on here. I love being able to. It's not really, I guess, a debate, but it's always fun to talk about things, especially those that are near and dear to our hearts. I mean, obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to those.
Absolutely.
And it's very sad as to what happened, within the last 48 hours and the stories that are happening that are false and falsified through social media and other kind of news programs. But as always, it's a pleasure being on here, and thank you guys again for having me. So,
absolutely. Are you going to the Grunt Style 2-gun run at the Range 35 this weekend?
I am not going to be able to.
Oh, bummer. I know Joe's going.
Maybe in the spring. I definitely want a chance to win one of those guns because it keeps going up every time.
I know, right?
Yeah, you should. I'm sure they're going to be doing something in the spring.
I'm going to try to make that one.
Yeah,
I'll try to make it.
Always a good time.
Definitely, yeah. I think last count, it was at least 9 guns we counted. By the way, Joe, last week when we had Pete on, we were talking about that with Pete and Matt from Grunt Style. Yeah, 9 guns. I think they have about 100, maybe 100 spots for that. And I think if I remember right, and I don't quote me because I can always be wrong. Things can always change, but I think they were doing like a raffle type deal with them, with a portion of them or something, so that. It makes it more fair, so that it's not just the people who rank the highest kind of deal. Right. And then I don't remember. We can go back to that video and you guys can listen to it from last week, episode 108, and get those details. But Joe, if you got anything else you want to wrap up with tonight?
No, I mean, yeah, obviously it's yesterday was awful, but just got to move on and just the dialogue has got to keep going. You know, like what we're doing here, what we do tonight. Like Corey said, it's not really a debate. A lot of us agree on a lot of things, but you know, that's the way to solve our differences. So again, thanks Rick for having me on and doing this.
Hey, thanks for helping with everything you helped with this stuff. Appreciate all you
fun.
guys.
It's fun, but it's important too, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
well said.
And looking forward to Saturday. It should be fun.
Yes, I'm looking forward to hearing about how that goes too as well. And I'm looking forward to my Saturday Iraq Veteran 88 shoot. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll let you guys know on that too. So Thomas, thanks for hanging out with us too. We haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Congratulations on the new job and the move and everything up to Minnesota.
Thank you, sir.
So if you got any parting thoughts?
A couple of things. One, absolutely thank you for letting me come on here and hang out with you and talk to these guys.
Thanks for coming out with us.
Yeah.
A couple things for all the viewers everywhere out there in internet land. These next couple of weeks, we all know it all too well, unfortunately, that they're just going to start hammering out the politics of all this. The only thing you can really do is to be prepared for that. I actually read, and it pains me to say these words. It really does. I read an article on the Washington Post website that I actually agree with. God forbid. It was an article written by a statistician who titled the article, "At first I was anti-gun and pro-gun control, then I did my research."
Nice.
I forget the author's name, and I feel bad for that, but she is from a website called 538.com. It is a website that is dedicated solely to statistics, solely to numbers. They did a special, which is the reason she wrote the article. She did a feature on gun deaths in America, and it broke everything down into blocks. Very easy to digest, very easy to read. I highly recommend you go and look up that website, go and look up that story, and be prepared with the numbers. For anybody who's trying to draw this into an emotional fight, the only thing you can do, like Corey said earlier in the podcast, is be prepared with facts. Everything else is opinion. Be prepared with facts.
Yep, exactly.
Wow. Yeah, well said. I'm going to check out that article on Washington Post now. Good to know. So, again, everybody out there watching, we'll do a quick check to see what we have out there, any comments or anything, last parting thoughts. But thank you to all the guys out there watching on YouTube.com. You know, Bullseye Shooting, Arnie Asada, Mason. Who else got? Sean. New Throne Clay. There's a whole long list of people, but go through them real quick. Thank you guys. And over on Gun Channels, we got any last final thoughts over there as well. If I can pull it up for some reason, I can't see it, but here we go. Nope, nothing new there. So again, thanks to the guys over at Gun Channels. And until next time, as always, of course, maybe I shouldn't end it quite this way. I usually end it with have fun shooting, but you know, tonight doesn't really seem that appropriate with what just happened in Vegas. You know, because we look at it differently. You know, we go out and we do competitions and training and all types of things that to us are kind of like, you know, fun and maybe even a little bit of work for some, with the training aspect and, you know, hunting and all that kind of stuff. But you know, I guess I just want to say, you know, be safe. You know, thoughts, prayers, you know, our heart goes out to everybody, you know, that was affected by, you know, this tragic event and everything. And, you know, just take care of one another and just, you know, basically just, you know, do what you can do, I guess, you know. Anyway, appreciate you all out there watching. And until next time, well, catch you next week.